Welcome to Awake to Oneness Radio. I am Caroline Chang, your host. The mission of Awake to Oneness Radio is to inspire the world to awaken to the universal truth of oneness. Science is now teaching us that all life, everything is energy, and that energy is interconnected and interdependent. In essence, that energy is one thing. So we are all connected. Basically, what you do to another person, you are literally doing to another aspect of yourself. Now, ancient wisdom and spirituality has been teaching the truth of oneness for eons, but now science is catching up. And this isn't new science. The science of quantum physics is over 100 years old. So in truth, I believe everybody should know this by now. Everybody should know we're all connected, we're all one. What you do to another person, you're doing to yourself. So once mankind has awakened to the universal truth of oneness, there will be peace on earth. Today's show topic is the angel experiment with Corin Grillo. I said it right, Grillo, yes. Corin Grillo. Corin, thank you so much for being my guest today on Awake to Oneness Radio.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you. So please share with our listeners your journey. I know you're an author, you're a speaker, you're doing great work. Please share with our listeners your journey.
Well, the journey has been long, and I didn't start out having this much stuff together. In a way, it was a pretty rough time growing up. I had a pretty, intense childhood, and kind of, white knuckled my way through it all, and tried to be an adult. It didn't work out too well for many decades, and I suffered a lot with depression along the way, but eventually I ran into a very interesting moment, which was an actual miracle brought on by working with angels, which were new to me at the time, and it really was a game changer for me.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, please share that with us. Share how you came to that awakening, that experience with angels.
Well, I came to it by drinking about a fifth of tequila every 2 days.
Okay, I don't know if I can recommend that to my listeners. But
He's trying to tell you the truth here. I'm not going to water it down.
I want the truth. Because I say to my audience, go within, breathe, meditate.
No.
Advice I generally give. But
that's not how it worked for me.
I definitely want you to share.
Caroline, that's not how it worked for me in the beginning. It worked through intense desperation and darkness, and for most of my life, really, my only prayer back then was wishing that day would be my last. And so ironically, when I encountered the angels, I was and I am a licensed psychotherapist. And I was really struggling at work and at home, really trying to stay afloat. So how I medicated myself was through a fifth of tequila about every couple of days. I was on antidepressants and Adderall and just doing all of this stuff just to kind of survive. And my house was going into foreclosure. My marriage was on the rocks, all of that stuff.
Yes.
And probably for obvious reasons, I wasn't doing too well. So, so a friend of mine bought me an angel healing and angel reading.
Okay.
And I didn't know what that was at the time. And I just thought, and it was for my birthday. So she didn't know that I was struggling. No one really knew how much I struggled back then.
Right.
She bought me an angel reading, and I went in thinking I was just going to see oh, yay, psychic, how fun. And the stuff that started pouring out of this woman's mouth was really spectacular, meaning she didn't really know me, and she was saying a lot of, essentially talking to me about all the things I did not want to talk about.
Right.
And, that I wanted to keep secret.
Yeah.
And so I just felt okay, well, maybe she's really dialed into some angels. I don't know. And then she started doing the angel work on me, the energy work, which I wasn't, I didn't do much of back then. I was aware of what it was. And I, But after that session, I could really feel a difference.
Now,
And I felt,
can
go
you
ahead.
share with us? Because I don't really know what an angel reading is. I've never really had an angel reading. So can you share with me and the audience what an angel reading is?
Oh, I sure can.
Okay.
Now I specialize in teaching others how to do angel readings and healings. And it took me a while to get here, um, but it's like, she sat down and started channeling angels, giving messages,
Okay.
and, kind of talking about, whatever is going on, that for me, it was stuff that I did not want to talk about, but it was really important to talk about that kind of
Yes.
stuff. So she sat with me. You said, "Hey, you have angels. I'm going to talk to them." And I was like, "Okay, let's go. Let's try it." And she started, talking about it. Now the angel healing is still channeling angels, but it's channeling angel frequencies to help, heal your body and heal your mind, heal your heart. And
Yes.
so that's what she did. And I could, like I said, after that hour meeting, I felt really different. I felt lighter. I felt brighter. And I was like, "Whoa, woman, you are so cool. Like, I really feel a difference." And I said, "I wish I could do that. I don't have magic like that." And she said, "You stop that. Yes, you do. And what I want you to do from now on is just talk to your angels as if they're real, so that they can show you how real they are." And
Yes.
that's really what I did. And right
Okay.
away I could start feeling them with me. And the angel synchronicities, synchronicities started popping, amplifying. So I drive down the road and I'd say, "Okay, angels, show me you're real." And like, I remember a laundry truck driving by with angel wings on it called Angels Laundry Service.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and license plate with the word angel in it, or I turn on the radio and an angel song was on, or walk into a
Yes.
grocery store. It just kept going, and it was really intense for a couple of days of that. So at that point, I was like, okay, maybe this is real, but I still had an ounce of doubt, like maybe I'm just making all of this stuff up, and it's wishful thinking, that
Yes.
there's actually real communication going on. And so one day I was driving to a client's house in one of the ghettos of Los Angeles. And as I was driving, this is about after 3 days of working with angels and really feeling a difference in my life already.
Mm-hmm.
I was driving down a residential street. No one was around, and a bird dropped about pigeon size directly in front of my car. And so I hit the brakes, and it was a really weird moment. It was like plop right in front of my car. So I drove around slowly, stopped, and looked at it. And it was this bird with one of the wings was mangled, and the other wing was kind of trying to scoot around. It was like kind of moving around in circles because it couldn't get up.
Right.
And I felt really sad for the bird, but of course I didn't know what to do in the middle of the ghetto, single woman out. It's like, I'm not going to
Right.
um, get out, and I don't know anything about birds. What am I going to do with the dang bird? I don't know what to do with a sick bird, and I'm on
Right.
my client's house. So
Right.
what I did, what I did instead was, instead of picking it up and tossing it in my car and taking it somewhere, was I used my new trick, which was asking the angels for support. And so that's what I did. I asked the angels to take this bird out of its suffering. And as I drove around the car, the bird, sending it prayers and good juju, I looked through the rearview mirror and I start seeing it kind of shimmy on the ground a little bit. So I stopped the car because it was kind of a weird movement,
Yeah.
and I kept watching. And as I watched, a small bird from the body of that bird jumped up and flew away. Then a second bird uh, came out of the body of that bird and flew away. And then a third bird that was a little smaller, a little darker, and a little wobblier than the other two jumped up and flew away. They were all like maybe about 3 inches. They were smaller than the
Yes.
bigger bird, and then what was left on the ground was nothing.
Wow.
Yeah, so I got out of the car because I didn't care what would happen to me. I was like, you know what? I need to just check and see what the heck happened. So I got out of the car, and there was no body left on the ground. And I can't describe the feeling, but I could feel the energy.
Yes.
It was like static in my hair, just kind of
Yes.
lifting it up, and I could feel a presence of beyond love, like bigger love than what humans know to be
Right.
love.
Yes.
And that moment changed me.
Yes. Oh my God. That. Wow. That's an amazing spiritual moment. Yes.
yeah, it was really, it was awkward. It was bizarre. And I knew I wasn't having hallucinations, you know?
Right.
So what was interesting about that day is that that was just the beginning of a series of extraordinary events that
Mm-hmm.
that started activating me. And it was like that first miracle was pretty impressive, but what was even more impressive was the change in me,
Yes.
in my heart, in the quality of my mind and my thoughts.
Yes.
And then my physical health started rallying as well.
Yes.
And so I could hear now a different voice inside
Mm.
of me, a loving voice that was inspiring me to live differently, to take what I want to call it positive risks, and
Mm-hmm.
to really take my spirituality, uh, make it a priority, make this something like angels, which was not in my forefront before that.
Right.
um, it became a serious reality, and I believed that from that
Mm-hmm.
point forward anything was possible, and that included for my life, not just
Right.
my life, but now then the lives of my clients as well.
Right. Now, how long ago was that? Like
That
when
was probably, so what are we at? It's hard to keep up with how
it's
fast the
20,
years are
we're in
going.
2020, believe
That's
it or not.
crazy, right? So
Yeah. The
yeah,
year of
yeah,
your vision, 2020. Yeah.
yeah. That was about 10 years ago.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So bring us now. Let's go back and bring us forward from there.
Well, a lot happened since
Mm-hmm.
then, but really the most significant thing was that I knew that there was this support there, not just for me, but for all of us. And I was in this position of, coming from an extremely traditional education as a psychotherapist, and then having to, in a sense, rectify these two fields of angels and miracles and possibility. And then let's sit down and talk about your pain, your story, your trauma for 20 years, And
Right.
so I had to kind of rectify and start claiming and owning my spiritual side along the way. And
Yes.
one thing led to another. I continued to listen to my guidance. Eventually, the angels inspired me and called me to start going more international, reaching broader audiences, which was terrorizing and terrifying for me. And
Right.
now I'm in a position where I am touching thousands of lives all over the world, and people are making a deep connection with angels through the work that we've developed and co-created with the angels. um,
Okay.
and amazing healing miracles and powerful connections are getting made all over the gosh darn world.
Which is great. Yeah, I truly believe humanity is on the verge of an awakening
Oh yeah, it's
consciously.
happening.
And yes, it's happening, like you said. So please, share with us. It says the angel, I know your book is The Angel Experiment. So share with us what that is, how we could do that, something like that at home.
Well, the angel experiment is a process that I worked and co-created and channeled with the support of angels, so that
Okay.
not everybody has to come into the field of angel frequencies like I did, which was through deep, powerful suffering. so,
Mm-hmm.
so, it's really a system and a method that I've been using for years now to help people make a tangible, palpable connection with angels, just like I did, where
Right.
it was like there was beyond, I couldn't even doubt it anymore because it was so obvious. And that's the kind of connection that I like people to make. I don't want people to just believe me that angels are real. I want them to have real experiences. And so the angel experiment is exactly that. It's an
Okay.
experiment,
Right.
and we work with invocation and energy healing and intuition and all of those things. And it's a 21-day step-by-step process to really open your heart, mind, and life to the
Okay.
power of angels, to help them, to help you make a strong connection with them, and to help your life begin its transformation.
Oh, awesome. Okay. I like that. I know that a lot of programs say 21 days is like, that's like you do something for 21 days and then it kind of it gets grounded in you, you
Mhm.
know? So yeah. So give us examples of what they would be doing in these 21 days.
Okay, so it always starts with an invocation. And an
Mm-hmm.
invocation is just a really powerful way to call spirit to come and support your life. And each invocation is different. So I
Okay.
sat the angels and I said, okay, what are we doing for day one and who wants to come help? And a different archangel would come. They would give me an invocation and I would write it down. And then they would show me a activation, healing meditation, and energy healing to walk people through. So then the next part is really a meditation. And in the book, I give you access to free audios that will go with the book. So if you're someone who doesn't like to read meditation and then do it, but you need to be guided, that's actually trying to make it as easy as possible for you. So really, it's like 10 to 15 minutes a day, and amazing, incredible things happen for people.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah.
Very, very good. I love that because that's, we're January, we're mid-January of 2020. And that was one of the things I said this year, I will be sure I do meditate at least 20 minutes a day. And so far this year, I have stuck to that. It's
good work.
Yes. Grounding and centering, instead of doing it sporadically, just make it the first thing in the morning, first thing when I'm out the bed, I do my meditation.
Yeah, I think that's primary. I definitely recommend that. And I think on top of that, many of us don't realize that we're not alone. I think even some spiritual people,
right,
they still think like, well, I am God and I am, the source. And then I'm going to, I just have to still my mind and then everything's better. But they don't actually actively call on the helpers that are there, right there for us to come and make things easier. So I find when working with angels, it expedites your manifesting power. It enhances your peace. And it helps with relationships, and it does it in such a magical way that you just really start getting and feeling supported. But yes, daily practice is essential, especially right now during these really tricky times where, people are popping off and the polarity is all crazy. And anytime you turn on the television, it's like, we're all going to die. We need that extra help, right?
Right. I hear what you're saying. I believe we all have a spirit teams of angels, guides, our higher self. I try to really align with my higher self's guidance when I'm doing my meditation, but I'm always asking for my entire team to surround me. And so I understand what you mean. Yes,
absolutely. Because I mean, I had like meditated for years and I couldn't break through the way, I mean, literally, I think when this had happened, I was meditating off and on for 10 years, just trying to detox from my life. And it really wasn't until I took my invisible posse seriously and realized they're sitting there, right there, waiting to support us. We just have to learn how to ask and ask powerfully. And so it wasn't until then that literally the miracles started happening. And they're not just happening for me. Now I get to witness them happen for so many people that are doing this work.
Yes. And also, like you were saying about turning on the television, well, one of the things I was told, like I was saying to you before we started recording, I live my life totally from spirit guidance. I don't hear, it's not like I'm not a psychic, but within you feel your spirit guidance. I've always felt it from within. So this is back in 2001. Just after 9/11, my spirit guidance told me and it was kind of within, it was a kind of a voice inside, loud and clear. Turn off that news and don't ever turn it back on. Now, this is before I'm awake to oneness. This is before I'm as spiritually awake as I am today. So this is way back then, and I got that message strong. I knew what it was. Turn off that news. Don't ever turn it back on. And I even said aloud, why? I don't get why you're asking me to do this, but I was obedient. I turned off that news. I have not watched mainstream news since September of 2001. I know what's going on in the world, because people's like, oh, are you living in, you got your head in the sand? No, I know exactly what's going on in the world. What needs the information that needs to come to me comes to me. First of all, I'm on the internet, and when you log in, you see all the headlines pop up and blah, blah, blah. And if there's something in the headlines interesting, I'll click on it, read about it. But I do not sit in front of that television and watch the news. And now I understand why. Didn't know why when I was asked, but now I understand that everything is vibration. And that mainstream news is just sending out all of those low vibrations to keep the masses in a state of fear and in a state of, like you just said, what's going on? That is, and I didn't get that till many years later.
Yeah, I know. And a lot of people don't. And
Yeah.
it is a fear-based propaganda. And until, and many of us are empaths, especially people probably listening to your show, they're empaths, are taking in this energy, and
Yes.
then they believe it to be their own. And all of us have I believe the right, not just the right, but the obligation to separate ourselves from anything that's trying to usurp our power, usurp our
Right.
sovereignty, and trying to kind of put us in a state of dismay. And what I found, Caroline, what happens when you detach yourself from mainstream media and other forms of media, then you create space for your voice to percolate. You create a space for your mission to begin emerging, because you don't have anything pushing down on it.
Yes.
And then you become the activator. So for you, you're putting your work out there. So I know there's a lot going on in politics people are freaked out about, but the thing that gives me ease is that I am producing more content than I'm consuming.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
it's the content that's coming from my heart and soul. And I think if anybody out there is listening and you're really dismayed with what's going on, that means to me that you need to get your work out there and really start creating a beautiful alternative
Exactly.
for what everyone else is consuming. Because like I said, there's now thousands and thousands and thousands of people kind of touching into some of the work that I'm doing, the work that you're doing, Caroline, and people are hungry for anything. And I think we get into the trick of, well, there's already so many people out there talking about angels or talking about consciousness or talking, what I wouldn't have anything to bring. And that's just not true.
Exactly. Exactly what you're saying. If you're here on the planet, if you're sucking air, if you're here for a unique purpose. And only you can, to tap into that purpose, is go within. Now the books like your book, all the work, all of the consciousness work, the angel work, the spiritual work, helps guide that individual to go within and tap into their unique purpose, because nobody else can fill their shoes.
Exactly.
They're here for a unique reason, and they're here to bring something to the whole, to humanity, to all of us. Like I said, everything is interconnected. Each one of us is interconnected and interdependent. And just like a drop in the lake just reaches out to all of the borders of that lake, your single drop of consciousness will spread to the entire world, not just the world, but to the universe. That's how connected we all are. So yes, so people that feel like, oh, I'm just little old me, what can I do? No, you're here for a unique purpose, and you can find that unique purpose by going with them, by doing these work, by doing your program and other programs, and just tapping in, because it's inside of you that's trying to get out. That purpose, that living your purpose. Like you were asking me when I launched my show 5 years ago, I was awakened in the middle of the night by Spirit, and Spirit said, just do it. And I knew what Spirit was talking about. It's like I kept thinking about, oh, I really like to do a internet radio show. I didn't even know the word podcast at that time. Then I found out, oh, that's a podcast. Okay, well, I'll do it. That's what I want. And then I said, okay, I will do it. I was obedient. I didn't know how. I just Googled, how do you start an internet radio show? And I took the first step. And that's all Spirit is asking each of us to do. Listen to that inner voice. Just take the first step. You don't know where it's going to lead. You don't need to know. Just because Spirit's not going to give you the second step until you take that first step. Once you take that first step, then okay, here's the second step. Okay, now here's the third step. So our problems as humans, we want to know the end before we even start. So we don't start. So we never start.
Exactly. And
Yeah,
we want to control the process, and we want to know it's
exactly.
all going to be safe and everybody's going to be okay. And then I'll make my money back if I invest in this equipment or that thing or that thing. And that's really not the spiritual path. That's the standard path. And
Exactly.
so I feel the spiritual path is highly terrorizing on many occasions, because you're being called to do things sometimes you've never seen done before.
Yes.
And people think it's like, oh, it's about loving bliss. I don't feel that the spiritual path and living a heart and soul fueled life is about just living in fluffy clouds, and that it really is like nose to the grindstone, challenging yourself, putting your personality aside for a greater good and a greater cause. And I feel my entire career, whether it's writing this book, showing it to people, I mean, the risk of rejection when you start going big, so scary. The risk of failure, and also what's even scarier is the risk that what happens if it works. Like success is even sometimes scarier than us failing. So to me, it's just we're sending out an anthem or a call to anybody who's listening, who has that inspired idea, who refuses to do it because you don't know if it's going to work, and you don't know if anybody's going to like it, and you don't know if it's going to be successful. Who cares? Because the bottom line is that it's not about you. It's about the people that are waiting for you, and people are waiting for all of us to connect us with. So again, I cannot believe where I stand today. This is not anything that I ever thought was possible. This is nothing that I thought that I wanted. I was very introverted, did not even want my picture on my website. I didn't want anything. I didn't want to talk to people. I didn't want to talk to crowds. All I did was want to heal people.
Right.
And then when Spirit said, no, you're going to do something, you're going to go online. And I was like, really? I am? Okay, let's try it. Right. But like, do I have to take pictures? Are you sure? Okay.
I'm camera shy myself because, like I said, when I first started, it was audio only. It's like, okay, audio is fine.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now it's like, okay. And then a year or two later, Spirit said, now you got to go to video. Now you got to, so
that's exactly what happened to me.
Yeah.
That's what happened. I did all my classes, like only audio.
Yes.
I wouldn't even show my face. And then it was like, all right, come on, get over yourself.
Yes, exactly.
So it's very provocative lifestyle in that it's not, I wouldn't call it easy, but it is so incredibly rewarding.
Right.
And fun and can be so magical when you just let yourself dream bigger than anyone that you've ever known. Yes. And especially because there's a lot of people in their local communities, they don't know anybody who's thinking like them. They don't know who have those kinds of inspirations. They're like, hey, I just want to be a soccer mom, or hey, I'm just going to go into my job and that's all I want to do. There's a lot of people who are just totally rocking that frequency, which is fine. Awesome. Right. But then people like you and me, we're scattered all over the world, soul brothers and sisters who often don't have a community that are doing it.
Exactly. Well, that's exactly what gave me the inspiration to start this show. Was I didn't have local people to talk to. So I said, okay, well, there's all these people online on YouTube that I'm inspired by. Okay, let me have a show and have a conversation with them. That's exactly what launched this, because there weren't local people to connect with and have these conversations. So I said, okay, I'll connect with people online that inspire me, and then we can together inspire the world, and I can send this out. Podcasting goes worldwide. I got an email one time in Japanese. I thought it was Chinese. I didn't know what it was, but Google Translator. I was like, okay, I can't read this, but let me put this in Google Translator. And so I put it in Google Translator. It was just a lady in Japan who was inspired by the show. And so I wrote a response back, put it back in Google Translator, translated it to Japanese, and sent it to her. So it was like, it feels that good that you're able to, in the 2020, we can reach the world from home. So that's just amazing to me.
I know, it's amazing. And like half the time I'm in PJ pants and I'm still, still doing the work. Yes. So it can be so creative. Yes. But what I learned from working with angels is that, nobody's here to rescue us. Like the angels aren't even here to rescue us. What they're here to do is make an opening for us to hear the truth of our own heart and our own soul, so that we can start expressing our nature and in a more beautiful, deeper, more powerful, awesome way. And until we learn to really honor and respect that voice inside, we will continue to suffer, not in a good way. You know, it's one thing to be terrorized by your amazing career and having to play bigger. It's a whole other thing to suffer in what feels like a prison.
Right. Exactly. And their prisons are self-made, like you said. We we have this, I guess, as humanity, we want someone to come rescue us, but it's not about, it's our savior is within each of us, and it's our true self wanting to come out. Because that's why we came here. We're not flesh and blood. We have a body, just like we have a car. We have a body to move around in this 3D reality. And it's just, I think of my body as a vehicle. I want to take care of it, just like I want my car to get me down the road. I need to take care of my car. I want this body to get me around in this environment. I need to take care of my body. But I know I'm so much more than just this body. I know I'm an infinite divine soul that came here for a specific reason. And when you are living your purpose, like you are, when you're living your purpose, it is scary, but you're at your you just feel a joy. You feel a joy inside that you can't even put into words. You know, so when we keep ourselves small and we don't allow ourselves to live our purpose, then you feel like you're in prison. So it's, you know, they're prisons of our own creation.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. There's this, gosh, I forget where it is in the Bible. And I forget it was which apostle. It's either Paul or Peter. I know it starts with a P.
Okay.
But I was just about to do a webinar, and then I was guided to look up, do a quick Google search, and I found this passage. And it was about either Paul or Peter being in Herod's prison, King Herod's prison. There's security, prison guards everywhere.
Right.
And he was going to be killed the next day. And he was asleep one night, and a big light shone in the room. Right. And he woke up, and it was an angel. And the angel said, "Yo, you know, get up." So he got up. Okay, put on your robe, put on your shoes. So he did that. And the door was open, and the angel said, "Walk through the door." And he did. And he said, "Walk out." And he kept walking and walking. And before he knew it, he had broken out of prison. And to me, that means, and that is exactly how angels work for me and work for everybody that I know, which is the angels will give you a suggestion. Like Paul could have just not gotten up, and he could have not believed that he could walk out. His fear would have been like, no, there's 2 security guards standing right there. And then there's more security guards out there. But he listened, and it's like what you're talking about, the obedience.
Yes.
You have to listen to the voice that's trying to set you free. And it's up to you to actually step up, put on your dang shoes, put on your robe, and walk past the gargoyles, the demons, the ones that are holding you back in one way or the other, trying to tempt you into staying small. Yes. And so that's how angels help. They will support you. They'll give you good guidance, but they cannot freaking pick you up and do it for you.
Exactly. Like when Spirit woke me up in the middle of the night and said, just do it. And I knew what the just do it was. And I got up at 1:30 in the morning, got on the computer and started Googling. You know, now the Spirit could tell me to just do it, but I had to actually do it. Yes.
Yeah, you had it. They will make awesome suggestions. And many times I listen, many times I don't, right? It depends on my mood. Yeah. So, but many people always say no to the ones that seem impossible. Exactly. And those are the ones you should especially try. And then you think, like, what is the worst thing that happens? I mean, come on. I look like a fool, big deal. I've been looking like a fool my whole life anyways. Nothing new in my case.
Yeah, no. It just... It is like you said, what we have to do is get past that what I call that monkey mind, because Spirit inspires us through our heart opening, our heart chakra, and we hear that inspiration and we let our mind say, no, we can't do it. So it's that mind that we have to quiet and say, okay, I'm going to listen to my heart. I'm going to follow my heart. I'm going to take the first step. That's all Spirit's ever asking you to do, is take the first step. And then, then you just take another step. Like they said, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, this is very, very true. And I love doing this podcast because I get to meet wonderful people like you who are living their truth and showing it to the world. It's amazing.
Oh, thank you. Yes, you're doing great work. You're
Thank
doing
you.
great work. Yeah.
Thank you. So now tell everybody how to find your book. The name of your book is The Angel Experiment, and tell everybody how they can find it. And if you have any either online or in-person events that are coming up, you can share with our listeners.
Yes. Okay. So you can find my book on my website, CorinGrillo.com. And if you order it through there, you can also get a Love and Abundance meditation package, including a workshop, an angel manifesting workshop. So you can get it from there. You can also get it on Amazon as well directly. Now, what's really exciting is there is an in-person intuitive angel healing retreat. Teaching intuitive angel healing is one of my passions, is, Caroline, because as you remember, that's what really cracked me open. And
Yes.
that's what, helped detox me to a soul level so that
Yes.
I could actually engage with spirit. And
Yes.
so I'm super passionate about teaching people about their own magic and how to work, how to open up their intuition, their spiritual gifts. Many healers come to me just to help them up-level their gifts and their spiritual healing power.
Yes.
And so we are doing a retreat in Santa Cruz, California.
Okay.
It's a 3-day all-inclusive retreat, and we will be, raising the roof with the angels, step by step, learning about the energy body, opening up your intuition, learning how to channel angels, and learning how to create massive miracles in your heart, mind, body, and life, as well as how to heal other people as well through the power, fueled by the power of angels.
Wow.
So that's coming on February 28th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds amazing. And they can get all that detail from your website. Share
From
your
my
website
website.
again. Yeah. Share your website again.
Corin, Corin Grillo, Grillo. So CorinGrillo.com. A little information about the event is on there, as well as you can find my book on there as well.
Awesome. Very good. I was actually in I have only been to the state of Cal. I'm an East Coast girl. I live in Pennsylvania now in the Pocono Mountains, and I've only been on the West Coast into California twice, and it was the show brought me there. First, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Reverend Michael Beckwith.
Yes.
Yes. He was on my show back in 2015, and he invited me to the Agape Revelation, which was great in 2015. And I was just in the Santa Cruz area. Another listener of mine invited me to a Bashar event. I'm in Oakland, California. So I was just out there about a month and a half ago. And so it was really, really a nice experience being on the West Coast, because I'm an East Coast girl. And the West Coast is foreign to me, but it was really great going. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's so fun. Yeah. It's so fun to travel and experience new things. But yeah, for this one, we have people coming in from Canada and Germany and people are coming out. I just love the in-person events.
Yes.
I didn't do a lot of them for a while because I was so busy doing other things, but Spirit's telling me to really just, essentially squeeze, to give people hugs in person.
Yes.
I really love, seeing the people's lights turn on when they realize, oh my gosh, this is real. It's really happening,
Yes, I feel the same way. I've gotten to go to conferences and travel. Like actually before the show, I started doing the show, I did very little to no traveling. But since I've been doing the show, I've been doing a little traveling, country. I haven't left the country yet with the show, but I've been traveling, going to conferences, getting to meet people in person, and it's just like you said, that in person is simply the best.
It is, right? It's so good.
It really is. So I really want to make sure that you share with the audience how important it is to ask for your help, ask your spirit team. I say spirit team because I know my spirit, from what I understand, my spirit team is made up my angels and my guides and my higher self and archangels. So can you just share with everybody what their spirit teams are all about?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we have a vast variety of, I call it the invisible posse, and they can be composed of all of those beings you just said.
Yes.
I also like to add in power animals and in ancestors, and star beings into there, right?
Yes.
So we have a team that are constantly trying to work for us, but they really can't intercede unless we learn how to really powerfully invite them in and work with them. And so they're always there, and it's so important. I can't tell you enough how much it's a game changer when it comes to working your life as if you're not alone and inviting these beautiful presences to come.
Right.
And because I think a lot of people think of like spirit, God, creator of all that is something that's out there, but it's just right here, right now. And the more that we engage that to help us lift our frequency, change our brains, change our mind, they can help you rewire your brain even. But the more that we work with them, the more beauty happens. So that's one thing that's really important. The other thing that I really am passionate about is opening up your intuition and really learning how to be a just super intuitive badass, so that you learn how to trust yourself, have confidence in yourself, and confidence in your own intuitive guidance, because that is truly game changing. Because you have to learn how to hear the voice of the angel that's trying to tell you, put on your shoes, put on your robe, and walk out. You need to be able to trust that voice.
Yes.
So, those are the two things that I feel like really need to happen in all of our lives.
Yes. And I love that you brought out the fact that our team, our posse, I like that. Our posse, our spirit posse is not far away. They're not really, they're right here all the time. They're not, we think, I know in traditional religion, I was sent to Catholic school as a young child. We weren't Catholics, but my parents sent me to Catholic school to get a better education. And in traditional religion, I felt like God was up there.
Exactly.
Judging me, and I'm totally separate, but the one thing that really opened me up, and it was the game changer for me, no, God is not separate from me. Whatever term you have, I love the term all that is not separate from me. God, spirit, Buddha, whatever your terminology for higher source, it's right there with you, and you're an intricate part of all that is. You're not separated, and you never are, and you will never will be separated from source. And I think that's one of the biggest things that differs from understanding the totality of who you are and in traditional religion. Now, I have nothing against traditional religion. I have the highest and utmost respect for everyone's religion. But sometimes a traditional religion separates us when it's about us. We're all one with the divine, never separated from the divine. The divine is right here. Your spirit guides, your posse, your spirit's posse is right here, just waiting to help you out as soon as you say, I need your help. Yes. Yes. Awesome. Very, very good.
Exactly.
And I will, now you live in the Santa Cruz area?
I live in the Bay Area.
Bay Area, okay.
I don't live in Santa Cruz, but I'm up in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Yeah. Well, that's where I was. I was in I was staying in the Santa Cruz area, but I went to an event in Oakland, so Oakland, the Bay Area. When my friend took me to see the Golden Gate Bridge, it was just so fog. When he picked me up from the airport, San Francisco airport, he took me, but you couldn't see like in front of your face, 5 feet in front of your face. The fog was so so I didn't get to see the Golden Gate Bridge, but he tried. It's like I could see the fog. But no, I loved it. And I'm sure I'll get back out there, and I will definitely give you a call and let you know I'm in the area.
Oh, please do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, I am actually low carb vegan, and I went to a great restaurant out there. It was solely vegan in Oakland. I don't know if you've ever tried it. I don't know if you, but it was the best. And I'm not big into tofu, but it was the best tofu burger I ever had. It's
Was it?
just thinking about it's making me hungry.
Oh yeah. Well, let me just say, yeah, California definitely has the lockdown on vegan and Whole Foods and all of that stuff. So
Yes.
you can get a lot of that out here for sure. That's wonderful.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for being my guest today. I just appreciate you so much. And like I said, it's like each one of us is a drop. But we're a drop. When I love my favorite quote is Rumi. You're not just a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop. So each of us, I think of each of us as a cell of God, that each of us are all of God in a drop. And each of us is powerful beyond measure if we really open up our hearts to that power. Yes.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Corin. I appreciate this. And we are, like I said to all my guests, we're going to stay in touch. And whenever I'm out your way, I am going to just shoot you an email.
Oh
Hey,
yeah.
I'm in the neighborhood. You know.
Awesome. That sounds good.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much. It's much
Thank
earlier
you.
there. Yeah, I'm on the East Coast. It's later here, but enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Love you so much.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.